Hello, my main PC for the last 6 years has been in the Ncase M1 version 2. When changing cases to the A4-H20, I also needed to get an all-in-one liquid cooler. The AIO Basic 240 was in my opinion the best looking and also the cheapest cooler of this size with good reviews. The package also included 2 OK fans for the cooler, which I will be replacing with my old trusty Noctos. My old Ncase M1 was one of the first and for a long time the best small form factor case. But since then, the size of the internals and the selection of those type of cases has been increasing. Finally, I was excited again by a new case and ordered the new A4-H20 manufactured by the same company that made the Ncase, Lian, and designed with collaboration from Dan cases. This new case also undercuts the competition in price and still delivers the same quality that you expect from Lian. For the first time, I also wanted to try and film my build process, so don't expect the highest quality video and bear in mind that some small parts might not have been filmed. The first step is of course the disassembly of the build in the Ncase, starting mainly with the cable management and large components like the graphics card and the power supply. Next, I am disconnecting the SSD from the front of the case, taking out the CPU cooler fan and disconnecting smaller I/O cables. The last part that needs to come off is of course the motherboard and the processor. Since the Mini-itx motherboard is so light and the space in the case is limited, I will be taking those off all at the same time. Finally, I will take the cooler and its connectors off and clean the processor with alcohol. After that, I start to prepare the case for the insertion of the motherboard by taking some panels off and applying the I/O shield. When the case was ready, I inserted the motherboard with the CPU and RAM. The next step was installation of the all-in-one liquid cooler. Firstly, the radiator was screwed to the cooler bracket on the case, and after that the fans were connected to the radiator. Then all of that was installed on top of the case. After the installation of the radiator, the copper-plated pump block was prepared for the assembly. It was screwed in with 4 spring-loaded bolts to the motherboard backplate. Last part of the front of the case was the power supply installation, which was quite hard because the cooler tubes were somewhat in the way. Luckily, they were flexible enough and the right length. Final touch was the installation of the graphics card on the back of the case with the included riser cable. All in all, this was a really fun build and I can recommend both the case and the cooler. Hopefully you found this build interesting.